إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. It is we who will resurrect or who will bring the dead back to life. وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُمْ, and we take record or we record what they have brought forth, whatever they have done. وَآثَارَهُمْ, and what they have left behind, their legacies. Don't undermine your legacy on social media. It will be a major mistake for any Muslim to undermine his legacy on social media. Today, governments prosecute and charge people based on their Facebook and social media sharings. What makes you and me think that our social media sharings will go unjudged or uncalculated before Allah on the Day of Judgment? This is the question. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وأنا على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت أبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. اللهم إني أصبحت أشهدك وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك وأن محمدا عبدك ورسولك. أصبحنا على فطرة الإسلام وعلى كلمة الإخلاص وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله رب العالمين. اللهم إني أسألك خير هذا اليوم فتحه ونصره ونوره وبركته وهداه وأعوذ بك من شر ما فيه وشر ما بعده. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good people, I welcome you to another morning walk. I think let's agree to call it morning walk chit chat. Morning walk chit chat. MWCC. Morning walk chit chat, inshallah. MWCC. This will make it easy for me to archive the files as I edit the videos as well. Morning walk chit chat, MWCC. I pray, as always, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to preserve you and your loved ones with iman and good health. Allahumma ameen. اللهم إني أعوذ بك أن أضل أو أضل أو أزل أو أزل أو أظلم أو أظلم أو أجهل أو يجهل علي. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. فاطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة، أنت ولينا في الدنيا والآخرة. توفني مسلما توفنا مسلمين وألحقني بالصالحين وألحقنا بالصالحين. اللهم آمين. This morning walk chit chat, this MWCC, comes 24 hours after our previous one, which was yesterday. And I find it burning or very related, and I thought that if and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants me the motivation and the weather is in our favor, just go ahead and do it. We don't hunt for a specific day or time. At the beginning I was thinking, well, if I'm to do morning walk chit chat, very frequently it will be boring. But then again, it will only be boring upon those who are forced to tune in or to watch, isn't it? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires, honors us with the inspiration to share, why keep it? That is one. Two, if we keep it for tomorrow may not come. Tomorrow will definitely come without us or with us around, but unable to execute what we were inspired to do yesterday. Therefore, if and when there is inspiration, I'm healthy by Allah's will, circumstances allow, I will just come out and do it. Insha'Allah ta'ala. After all, the consistent followers of the content, this is public park, so we have to accommodate and also expect the unexpected. So if you hear music from time to time in the background, well, this should be expected. One of the good things about doing it early in the morning like this is people are still asleep. It's already Fajr, we have pre-Fajr already. But by the time people start to come out, because it's now, when I started it's 6:30, now it's almost 6:50. So by the time people start to come out at 7 a.m., we are almost towards the end. So that will be in our favor, inshallah. So the consistent or committed people who follow this content, they matter a lot, and to them it doesn't matter Probably some of them will even prefer as many sessions as possible. So if it is 1, if it is 2, if it is 5 that benefit from it, we should, and when, it's better than waiting for, let's say, weekend or Wednesdays. These are the days where people are likely to tune in. But how many will really watch from the beginning to the end? The 1 or 2 or 5 people who are consistent, they won't mind. If it's 30 minutes, they will spend 30 minutes. If it's an hour, they will spend an hour. So for them, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, and then for them, and then for future, inshallah. As and when we can, we will do it. Today's topic is a follow-up to yesterday's topic. At the end of yesterday's sharing, MWCC, we did mention that there are some practices on social media which I believe Muslims should avoid. Therefore, today's topic is some practices. I was thinking of a number of practices, but I cannot figure an exact number. So that will be decided at the end of the sharing, inshallah. So for now, some practices on social media which most of us are guilty of. Some practices on social media which most of us are guilty of. So by saying most of us are guilty of, let me start by sharing an experience. One of the challenges that people who do da'wah face is that whenever they share, whether it's a verse, whether it is Quran, whether it is Quran, whether it is Sunnah, whether it is advice, one of the challenges they face is that it is easy for some in the audience to take it personal and think the person is targeting them. Very unfortunately. There may be cases of, yes, the person is delivering a message but he's targeting a certain individual. Well, there may be cases, but it is not always true. For an example, my wife and I, we once visited a friend of mine at his house. So in the chit chat, he and his wife, in the presence of himself and his wife, I shared something. We were talking about naming babies and children. So I shared something by saying, young parents today, one of the problems they face is ego. Young parents, young adults, young couples, one of the problems they face which affects their marriage and also their children is ego. Especially when both of them perceive themselves educated. I am graduate, so both of them are graduate, so they know their so-called rights. On that basis, the wife stands on her rights, and the husband also definitely stands on his rights. So everyone is my rights. No one compromises. No one compromises. Not only that, it goes to the extent of even naming the child. The children become victims of parents not willing to compromise. So if the husband suggests a name, the wife must also suggest a name. As a result of that, the child will have to have combination of names, long name, unended name. And then he will bear carry the heaviness of the name. He has to spend his life explaining the meaning of his name. He has to spend his life spelling the name and the name correctly, properly, and not even knowing the meaning of the name. Why? Because his parents were egocentric. Everyone. And at the end of the day, they will combine names that makes no sense at all. This was what I shared in the presence of my wife and a friend of mine, my friend and his wife. When I finished, my friend's wife said, Ustaz, do you know that what you just shared resonates exactly with what me and my husband we experienced when we had our first child? We couldn't agree on name. So we have to combine the names. So I told them, yes, I didn't know your situation, but just imagine if because I'm very close to the husband, my friend, I said, right? I said, if I shared this, what I just shared, before meeting you, and any of you heard me, you will have thought, maybe the wife, you will have thought that your husband had shared with me your story, and therefore I am using your situation to make this statement, which is not the case. So this is a challenge for many people who do da'wah. Being aware of this, some will just choose to not talk at all because they are afraid of people taking offense. But we forget that intention is very important. If your intention is to create awareness, then you don't have to worry. If your intention is not to offend a certain individual, then you don't have to worry. If your intention is to please Allah, then you don't have to worry. Everything has consequences, everything has implication. At the end of the day, only Allah knows what is in your heart. Wallahu alimun bi dhati sudur. This takes us to the next level. Some practices that most of us are guilty of on social media, when I mention any of the practices, it does not mean that I am free from those. That's why I'm saying some of us are guilty of them. It doesn't mean that I don't commit them. And because it is wrong, and probably because I have committed some of them, if not all, that's why I have reflected and thought that it should be highlighted accordingly. So I hope we don't become like, well, you are talking about this and you also do it what? Just because I do it doesn't make it right. It is wrong. Wrong is wrong, regardless of who does it. And right is right, regardless of, even if no one does it. When we are on social media, it's very important as Muslims to look at social media, regardless of how many platforms you are present on, to look at social media as a platform where we have voluntarily joined. I don't think anyone is forced to join any social media platform. As adults, we have all subscribed to whatever social media platform we have subscribed to willingly. We are not forced to do that. And however our interactions on those platforms, they are voluntarily. Look at it the way you look at your hobbies. You are not forced to do your hobby. You do it out of passion. You do it out of liking, but they have implications. Our behavior on social media, which is based on our choice, and we are not being forced to behave however we behave on social media, if we cannot control it and make it in a way that it will look as beautiful as our hobby will do, where else can we beautify our conducts? Where else can we beautify our conducts? Inna nahnu nuhyi al-mawta. Surah Yasin. I think that is verse number 12, right? Inna nahnu nuhyi al-mawta wa naktubu ma qaddamu wa atharahum wa kulla shay'in ahsaynahu fi imamin mubin. It is we who will resurrect, or who will bring the dead back to life. Wa naktubu ma qaddamu wa atharahum. And we take record, or we record what they have brought forth, whatever they have done. Wa atharahum. And what they have left behind, their legacies. Don't undermine your legacy on social media. It will be the grievous, is that the word? It will be a major mistake for any Muslim to undermine his legacy on social media. Inna nahnu nuhyi al-mawta wa naktubu ma qaddamu wa atharahum. Ya akhi, social media should be the biggest lesson of evidence of the hereafter and judgment. You can pause this video and go back to your social media. Take Facebook as an example, and go to your page, your personal page of social media, your personal account, and scroll through the past 1 month and see if you are pleased with what you have shared. I know some people are on social media, they never share anything, they only follow, they only read. Go through what you have read for 1 month. Go through the videos you have watched. Go through the comments you have made. Go through. And see if you are happy. With this realization, the points we are going to mention next can sink in by Allah's will. The first practice that, before the first practice, we are Muslims. So what we are talking about here is from the perspective of Islam. And when we talk Islam, we are talking Quran and Sunnah, not my grandfather's thoughts and what have you. Not my culture, your culture, his culture, their culture. Islam. So whatever we are going to highlight here, if it doesn't sync well with a certain culture, but it contradicts, but it is the commands of Islam, then we follow Islam, not the culture. Okay, first thing first, bringing our family matters public. The problem is when people have family issues or any problem, life difficulties, hardships, challenges for that matter, when we feel hot, we think we are the only ones feeling hot. When we are in pain, we think we are the only ones feeling pain or in pain. When we have any difficulty, we think we are the only one having such difficulties. Not knowing that everyone has their challenge, their pain, their hardship, their problems, but in a different set or in a different way. If you want your marriage to succeed, then keep your family problems home. Keep your family problems private. If you have problem with your spouse, talk to your spouse. Don't talk to your mother. If you have problem with your spouse, talk to your spouse. Don't talk to your father. If you have problem with your spouse, talk to your spouse. Don't talk to your teacher. If you have problem with your spouse, talk to your spouse. Don't bring it to social media. As long as you and your spouse are not on the same page, you don't see the same problem as a common problem, then it's not going to be solved. Your mother can only make it worse. Your father may only make it worse. Your teacher may only manipulate it. Social media can only expose you. So you have problem? Never, ever bring it to social media. Number one. The implications are a lot. Your loved ones on social media cannot help you fix it. Like I said, your most loved ones will be your parents, your teacher. But the fact that the two of you are not on the same page, we just talk about ego, right? The fact that the two of you are not on the same page, then help is going to be difficult to be achieved. So if these immediate loved ones cannot help you unless you are willing to help yourself, what about your other loved ones, virtual loved ones? They can pity you. And that is it. That is your loved ones. Your enemies, do you think they will pity you? As long as you share more to your enemies or with your enemies to say, your hardship can only increase. That is why adhkar is very important. Moving on to the next. Social media is a platform where people share freely whatever they want or they can. If you are a Muslim content creator, by all means. If you are a Muslim motivational speaker in the righteous way, by all means. If you are a Muslim teacher, by all means. But don't use your family members as social media objects. Don't use your family members as your social media objects or props. Assalamu alaikum. Kabar. Don't use your family members as social media props, especially children. Of course, your wife or your husband. Your wife, basically, because I don't recommend Muslim women making themselves public figures, influential, so. That may be another topic for another day. Al-Muhim. Don't use your family members as social media props. Is that the word props? Subjects, objects. You know what I mean. Whatever you are doing on social media is your passion. May Allah reward you. But your family are not obliged to share with you your passion. If they do, let it be voluntarily. But don't drag them in. It backfires. If you are watching this, most likely you know this Emirati blogger who made himself a joke. Unfortunately, Ghafarallahu lana wa lahu. May Allah forgive us and him. Who started social media? Muhammad Al-Amiri, is that his name? Amiri. And then he used his wife, his then wife. When it backfired, now they have divorced because she developed a different mindset. I mean, when I say don't use your family, it's not because it will turn to this. No, not necessarily. This is the one for her. When it backfired, she asked for divorce, or they went for divorce. What about those who cannot go for divorce? They become victims of your personal interest. Don't do that. Your children. Your passion is not necessarily the same as your children's. Don't force them into yours. The only thing we have to force our children to do is to learn Islam. They have no choice. As long as they are under our shelter, they have no choice. When they grow, of course, doesn't mean we force them. No, we have to teach them, to convince them. But they will still have to do it by force. How you wake up in the morning to pray? By force. So when they grow wings and they choose otherwise, na'udhu billah, that gets out of your responsibility already. So children, we don't use our children, especially the little ones, expose them to the camera, to social media, to make them talents. If they grow and want to use social media for their own growth, that is something else. That becomes their choice. So your presence on social media, regardless of what your objective is a choice which you don't have to impose it on your family members. Let them live their life. Number 3. Yesterday we talked about sharing. We asked the question, how often do you share when your good friend visits you, do you bring out your family album and let them go through? Very rare. A Muslim with ghaira will not do that, by the way. With photo album, photo album with my wife, with children and what have you, and then share with your friend. So problem number 3, or practice number 3, is sharing photos and videos of our children. Especially children. Okay, let's mention the children first as number 3. Sharing photos of our children. Yeah, keep your family children, your children photos private. Allow your children to be able to sleep in peace at night. Let them sleep like cats. A cat sleeps. I used to say, I want to sleep like a baby, or go and sleep like a baby, and then someone said, babies don't sleep at night, which is true. So cats sleep. Let your children sleep like cats. What science is not able to detect doesn't mean that it does not exist. Sihr is true. Ain, evil eye, is true. It can affect your children just by looking at their photos online. So protect your children. You don't protect your children, you don't protect yourself by reading adhkar and then going into the wrong places. So when you protect your children, just because you read for them Quran, whatever it is, and then you still expose them, don't do that. Protect them and then cover them with the dua of protections which you read. So children, keep them safe. That is practice number 3. Practice number 4. Men, dear men, have some ghaira, have some jealousy, protective jealousy, and stop sharing photos of your beautiful wives. When I say beautiful wives, I mean your wives, because you married a person because you appreciate her look, her appearance. So your beautiful wives. It is dayatha. Dayatha means the person who does dayatha is the youth. To present your wife's photo or image, photo or video to the public just to show her face. Just to show her face. Unless there is a real necessity, just for social media sharing is unnecessary. Protect your wife. Of course, a woman should not put her own photos on social media, let alone her husband doing that. What's the objective of sharing our wife's photos on social media? For people to lower their gaze? Ya rajul. Ya rajul. Probably when people share their wives' photos, when you see, well, you say, mashallah, tabarakallah, and move on. Maybe you are that angelic. Allahumma barik. But when you share your wife's photos, others are not angelic. And you cannot do that. You cannot control them. That is practice number 4. While we are still at practice number 4, practice number 5. Dear Muslims, males and females, it is not permissible that we share photos of naked people. When I mention naked people here, anyone, man or woman, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Good. I wanted to show him, but I don't have his father's permission. Talking about sharing, featuring children. All right. Number 5, right? Sharing photos. Photos here also include videos of naked people. In the context of Islam, a naked person is someone who does not cover his aura. Whether it is main aura or it is minor aura. Anything you cannot pray, any situation you cannot pray with is meaning that you are revealing your aura. For men, it's obvious, but for women, we Muslims, we take it very lightly. When women don't put on hijab or who don't cover themselves, and including covering their hair, we don't mind sharing their photos. It is not right. Why is it not right? Because it's not right for the woman to go uncovered. It is not right for the woman to go uncovered, isn't it? But she has the right to what? She has chosen not to cover herself. Yes, she has chosen not to cover herself. That is her choice. We cannot stop her. But just because we cannot stop her doesn't mean that we encourage her by even sharing her exposure more and more. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم. Do not accumulate sins based on someone's sins. If the person has committed the sin, the least we can do is to pray for him, for them. But we don't go into their defense and join them to accumulate sins we have not committed. All right? Yahi, the person has chosen not to put on hijab. But if he is in a photo or in a video, we don't have to share the photo on social media. If they share it on their social media, that is their responsibility. We don't have to also share that. Blur out women without hijab. But she's not Muslim. Okay, are you obliged to? Are you compelled? Are you compelled to share non-Muslim women on your page? You are not. You're not forced to. We cannot force non-Muslims to put on hijab, but we don't share their photos either on our social media. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم. All this will be presented to us on the day of judgment. Why will you want to accumulate someone's sins which you haven't committed it yourself? A man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I want permission, I want ticket, I want permission to commit zina. Na'udhu billah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, will you want it for your mother? He said, no way, Ya Rasulullah. Will you want it for your sister? Ya Rasulullah, how can that be? Will you want it for your daughter? Ya Rasulullah, how can that be? Imagine Rasulullah didn't ask him, will you want it for your wife, you know? And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you wouldn't want it, if you wouldn't want it for your mother or your sister or your daughter, and same is the situation, others also don't want it for their mothers, their daughters, and their sisters. This man, Shaitan was playing with his heart, inspiring him to commit zina. Even with that, he still had ghaira. He still had what? A protective jealousy for his sister, for his mother, for his daughter. Based on this hadith, in the West, I'm told, or I heard, that a man came to an imam complaining about the spread of zina and how difficult is it to avoid zina. So the imam should understand if, let's say, he is involved in zina or whatsoever. So the imam asked him, will you want it for your mother? He said, why not? And then he asked him, will you want it for your sister? He said, why not? What about your daughter? Well, it shouldn't be a problem. What's the difference between the man at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and the man in today's contemporary world? That man of the time of the Prophet had ghaira, protective jealousy. And this man had no ghaira, has no honor at all. Therefore, he doesn't feel it. He has no sense of responsibility. Ghaira. That is point number 5, right? Number 5. Point number 6, practice number 6. We see videos on social media where the creators test the iman of Muslims. For example, it is Ramadan, and this creator or that creator or a few of them, they will approach Muslims, supposedly Muslims, and then ask them, are you Muslim? Say yes. The talent will say yes. And then he will ask him, are you fasting? She will say yes. And then he will present her with a bottle of water. Have this and have $100. She said, no, I'm Muslim, I'm fasting. And then he will increase the dose. $500. She said, no way. And then he will increase the dose. I give you $1,000. She will say, no way. Based on the videos I have seen so far, well, that is what they show. The Muslims will reject it by all means. The objective or the impression they are trying to give through the video is that Muslims will not compromise by any means. Ya Rajul, Muslims are committing zina what? And the Muslims who are not fasting, are they not Muslims? That is number one. That is number one with regards to this. The other thing is, you offer him $100 to break his fast, or $500 to break his fast. What if he's in a situation that he was already looking for an opportunity to break his fast? Will you reject it? Will you deny it? Will you pull back? Don't test people's faith. Let Allah be the only one who tests people's faith. I'm saying this because I assume that the video is genuine. Okay? Now, let's question the integrity of the video. This kind of videos, so far in my observation, the subjects or the talents are only women. Why only women? And pretty ones. This is uncalled for. This is unnecessary. That is practice number 6. Practice number 7. That is how many minutes is this? Going to an hour already. Okay, inshallah. Practice number 7. Again, we see videos on social media where the creators, I don't know those behind the camera whether they are men or women, but definitely one in front of the camera will be a woman approaching a naked non-Muslim woman. And again, when I say naked, from Islamic definition, even in any modest definition of modesty is nakedness. They will approach a naked a non-Muslim woman and offer her to try hijab on camera. This is unnecessary. I mean, are you telling me that if you show her how pretty she will look in hijab, she will accept Islam? That will be a questionable Islam. A person should accept Islam because he is fully convinced that Islam is truth, and first and foremost in Allah alone. Then the hijab and what have you comes along. Okay, if the person is convinced, why do you have to show the world this naked woman? Why? It doesn't help. That is practice number 7. Again, إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. Practice number 7, right? Practice number 8. What is it, huh? Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Have you ever tried to type something to share or to post, and then halfway you ask yourself, what value will this add to people who will read it? What value will it add to people who read it? Have you ever asked yourself that? What is applicable to typing to share, it is applicable to sharing a content created by someone else. Have you ever asked yourself, what is the value of this content to the people who will come across when I share? Practice number 8. Don't share contents that adds no value to you as Muslim, and let alone to the people who will come across it. Entertainment, nakedness, stupidity, mediocrity, immorality, wine, and what have you. Yesterday I mentioned that now Facebook pushes content to us, to people. You cannot control that, but you can still do adjustment along the way. If you want safety, and you will have to take the trouble to go through to make adjustments, I don't think you will have the time to be sharing such things with others. The point here is, you may see the content all of a sudden. You didn't ask for it. You didn't go for it. You didn't search for it. But just because it is entertaining doesn't mean that it is worthy sharing. Sometimes it can be entertaining and it may look innocent, but the hidden message is the drop of the poison in the glass of honey or glass of milk. And nothing justifies it. Nothing justifies it. That is practice number 8. From this morning walk, chit chat, I have squeezed my mind to come out with 8 practices. I am certain that there are more. If you have watched to this point, and it has been an hour already, please, this time around, I eagerly request that you share some practices that you have observed and believe that Muslims are not supposed to be doing, yet we are guilty of them. Let's remind one another so that we can be granted Jannah together. Jannah will be boring without you around or without us being together. So what are some practices that Muslims do on social media which you believe, based on Quran and Sunnah, they're not supposed to be doing, yet they are doing, which I have not mentioned among the 8. Please share your thoughts in the comments and let the discussion continue. Insha'Allah ta'ala. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا وعرضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول مرة بل زعمتم أن لن نجعل لكم موعدا ووضع الكتاب, on the day of judgment, ووضع الكتاب, the record books will be presented. فترى المجرمين مشفقين مما فيه, the criminals will مشفقين مما فيه, they will feel pity of themselves, of what is in them. ويقولون, and they will be saying, يا ويلتنا, woe unto us, ما لهذا الكتاب, what's wrong with this book, لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها, it does not leave any small or big, any big or small thing unless that it has documented it. ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا, and they will find everything that they have done being presented. ولا يظلم ربك أحدا, and your Lord does not wrong anyone. Today, governments prosecute and charge people based on their Facebook and social media sharings. What makes you and me think that our social media sharings will go unjudged or uncalculated before Allah on the day of judgment? This is the question. Today, probably even this video or some of my videos, I can be judged for them in dunya. So governments prosecute and charge people based on their sharings. What makes you and me think that our sharings on social media will not bring us to account on the day of resurrection? So this brings us to today's morning walk chit chat. Until tomorrow, I leave you in Allah's protection. Inshallah, see you in Jannah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.